Are they on? Is it on? If everybody could just sit down, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Good morning, all. We are Oasis One Word Choir. My name is Christiana. I'll be introducing a cloak to you that is being worn by June. The cloak was made in response to the movements and words created for a nation of sanctuary under a Groove project. Celebrating the voices, cultures, and languages of people seeking sanctuary in Wales. The cloak symbolizes a gift of sanctuary given to the wearer when entering a community. Credited in the words and images that are seen on the cloak. Through a set of workshops at Oasis Cardiff, you are able to write, drew, printed, and wove a set of intentions of sanctuary into the fabric that make up this garment. The orange hearts on the cloak were lovingly created by participants in the workshops in order to show solidarity with the Orange Heart campaign. Orange also being the color of the refugee flag. The color of the cloak are joyous and uplifting, just like we want the celebration to be. Sit back and enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, that was wonderful. Beautiful, colorful cloak. بيانيتان باش بخير بن سرچاوان أرحب بكم. بوردا أكرويسو إنوثا أنا سنث. On behalf of the Welsh Refugee Coalition, I would like to welcome you all to the Sanctuary in the Senedd 2022. Some quick housekeeping reminders. Photos will be taken today, so please, if you do not want your photos to be taken, let the photographer know. And there are some purple lanyards over there. Please wear those. Mein Vendigedig. It's wonderful to be here in person with so many of you. Familiar faces and some new ones. Community members, organization, civil servants, and ministers. You will all work hard and you have commitment and passion to do the best all you can for refugees and asylum seekers in Wales. This is my first event as a chair of the Welsh Refugee Coalition. My name is Salah. I am a refugee from Kurdistan. I am also the head of resettlement of the Welsh Refugee Council, chair of Kurdish All Wales Association, and an activist in the refugee community. I am also a proud father of two wonderful Welsh Kurdish-speaking daughters. I arrived in the UK 19 years ago off the back of a lorry. After a journey of hell that took 6 years, crossing the border and the bridge to Wales, and settling in Swansea, I felt free at last. Under the new Borders Bill, we all know that had I arrived into the UK government hostile environment today, I could end up in Rwanda. The UNHCR has declared that an unprecedented number of 100 million displaced people around the world. Conflicts in Yemen, Afghanistan, Syria, Ukraine, and many more other countries around the world are not going away. More than ever, we need to collaborate and enhance pathways for people to seek sanctuary, not close borders, select, divide, and punish. I am so proud to be living in Wales. The Welsh Government, local authorities, and public bodies have demonstrated leadership and commitment to becoming a nation of sanctuary. Example of this, Welsh Government statement made during the opening of Penally Camp, opposition to the Borders Bill, positive steps in providing free transport. And more recently, the Team Wales effort in supporting Afghans that have been evacuated and Ukrainian super sponsor scheme is a true demonstration of how Wales can be a nation of sanctuary, a polar opposite of a hostile environment, and how we can enhance our work within devolved powers. Today, you will hear from a range of experts by experience. Thank you to all participating, and a big diolch yn fawr to the Voices Network. The impact of the Voices Network is significant in reigniting the refugee dialogue in Wales and stating the need and benefit for more refugee participation in policy and governance. Initiatives like the Sanctuary in Politics course, mentorship and leadership programs are good practice examples of how we can democratize leadership and opportunity to participate within our community. Have you? Will no doubt be an inspiring date. But remember, progress on refugee empowerment and meaningful refugee participation in policy, governance, public and fair sector is too slow. However, our voices are starting to be heard, and very slowly we are starting to sit around the tables. More needs to be done to ensure that we refugees are first of all not only sitting around the table, but that our participation is meaningful. We should be drawn for our expertise, not only our sad stories. But we should also participate in, as a fair thought, in policies, plans, programs that affects us rather than an afterthought. We should be seeing people like us in all levels and sectors of employment in Wales. Today, you will hear from an expert by experience on the subjects of integration, education, and employment. I urge you to listen actively and think sincerely, how can we fulfill this ambition to become a nation of sanctuary and anti-racist society? Not only on a government plans level, but in the details of everyday life that impacts us so greatly. Lastly, from the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank Jane Hutt and Welsh Government for their tremendous hard work and commitment to Wales, nation of sanctuary, and for raising our voices in the face of a hostile environment. Diolch am wrando a croeso mawr. Let's welcome Minister Jane Hutt to the stage.
Bore da pawb, good morning everyone, and thank you Salal for your welcome and opening remarks. Can we congratulate you on your appointment as the new chair of the Welsh Refugee Coalition? I mean, you are going to be an inspiring chair. You're an inspiring person, and we have so much to learn from you, but your leadership will be so important as we move forward together. But we're joining today for this Sanctuary in the Senedd event, and we're together, we're seeing each other. Many of us haven't seen each other except on screens for such a while, but all together today will give us a real opportunity to learn and listen to each other and learn from you all. But also, we know that since we have met together in person, there have been so many changes, challenges, and as well as contributions from sanctuary seekers in response to the pandemic, in response to the cost of living crisis, in response to the important work we're doing to welcome refugees and asylum seekers to Wales. So, as I said, it's an opportunity today to learn from each other what can be done to improve support for people seeking sanctuary in Wales, and more importantly, most importantly for me as Minister for Social Justice, listening to the voices of those with lived experiences. It is about being at the table, not just round the table, at the table, influencing us in our policy development in the Welsh Government. What unites us all is our common desire to improve the way we do things, and becoming a nation of sanctuary is the responsibility of everyone in Wales. And we as a Welsh Government are committed to showing leadership on this issue with the willing and crucial support of many partners in this room today, but also all over Wales. Wales has enjoyed a long history of welcoming refugees, and we continue to value and benefit from your skills, your expertise, entrepreneurial spirit, sharing of culture. And we value these contributions which people seeking sanctuary make to our society together. We've seen these contributions as well through the response to the pandemic, where refugee doctors and nurses have fought the battle of the virus in our hospitals, and asylum seekers volunteering within our communities, giving out food and help to those who most need it. And this kindness embodies what we mean by a nation of sanctuary. We want people to start their journey of integration from the very first day they arrive here. So our Nation of Sanctuary plan sets out the actions we are undertaking to ensure inequalities that might be experienced by these people and communities are reduced, that we tackle them, that we improve access to opportunities, and that also relations between communities and wider society are developed and embraced. And let me be very clear that there is one matter that absolutely has no place in Wales: hate speech or racism. So I'm immensely proud of the support that Wales has offered to those seeking sanctuary, and we want to mark this milestone with the Welsh Government's thanks to all those who have enabled this to happen, starting with local government, local authorities, who are providing sanctuary to families of all refugees, those who fled Syria, Afghanistan, and more recently, those who arrived from war-torn Ukraine. Thanks also to the Wales Strategic Migration Partnership. You work so hard to develop that well-managed process to ensure the right family is placed in the right community, in the right area. So thank you so much for that. Thanks too to the refugee support organisations and community sponsorship organisations who often provide round-the-clock support to newly arrived families to ensure that they can understand life, what life's like in Wales, and the support that they can access. And this has often been pioneering work where Wales has led the way. Every action we undertake within our Nation of Sanctuary plan makes a real difference to all sanctuary seekers in Wales, and we've made good progress so far, but there's lots more for us to do. We've continued to fund ESOL hubs in Wales to ensure sanctuary seekers and refugees can access classes in Wales to improve and enhance their language skills. We're working to encourage businesses to consider recruiting refugees to make their workplaces inclusive of their needs and make the most of their skills and contribution. Schools are starting to achieve School of Sanctuary status, providing a welcoming place of safety for all, making children feel part of the school's community, helping with their integration. And I've joined and congratulated many schools to present their awards in becoming a school of sanctuary. We've continued to fund the Welsh Refugee Council and its partners to deliver our Wales Sanctuary Service and Move On support, but also funding asylum justice to continue to provide legal advice, and Housing Justice Cymru to expand hosting capacity across Wales. And when you tell us what the services are needed and where the funding is needed, we will respond if we can, because we make this a priority. So our Migrant Integration Wales project will see the production of a migrant integration framework, and that will benefit organisations that support migrants across Wales to maximise opportunities. And this framework will be supported by several pieces of research to help us understand the provision of legal advice, ESOL and interpretation services across Wales. Grassroots organisations who support migrants across Wales will also benefit from funding, peer mentoring and training. We've provided free access to internet at all our asylum accommodation across Wales during the COVID-19 pandemic, and we continue to do so, which has meant that people have been able to connect with their family members, keep studying, and continue to access vital health information and updates. We stand with asylum seekers and refugees from across the world, regardless of how they arrived. The UK government policy to send people to Rwanda and the Nationality and Borders Act, this is divisive and will be detrimental to the integration of sanctuary seekers within our communities. It is our moral duty to enable people to seek safety and find an inclusive welcome here in Wales. The decision to use electronic tagging is abhorrent and completely against our position as a nation of sanctuary. We are supporting vulnerable people who come to our country seeking safety and sanctuary, and they should be treated with dignity and respect, not tagged and criminalised. There should be a welcome here, not hostility. In Wales, we welcome and celebrate how sanctuary seekers enrich our communities, how their journey of integration turns to success, and how we benefit from this as a nation of sanctuary. I know we're going to hear lots more about how this all happens in Wales today and how we can make sure it happens in the future. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you very much.
So, on behalf of us all, I'd like to thank Jane Hutt, the Minister for Social Justice, for her keynote speech, which was very thought-provoking. So, I've been told to introduce myself. I'm Renette Roberts. I'm from Oasis Cardiff, but more importantly, I'm part of the Refugee Coalition. And on behalf of the Refugee Coalition, I'd like to welcome you all here. We have a very tight schedule. So my job is to be the bad guy, along with Million, who has a red card and a yellow card. I think it's like football, but as I don't watch football or interested in it, I don't know. But if you're giving a speech, can you please keep an eye on Million, because he will start waving cards if you're going over. It's so that everyone can have an opportunity to speak and you can all hear everyone. So thank you in advance. We'll now celebrate the achievements of the individuals who completed the 2020 Sanctuary in Politics course, supported by City of Sanctuary and the British Red Cross. You can see the information about the graduates and their projects on the slides. And I really recommend that when we have a break that you talk to them and find out more about their achievements. So I would like to welcome Dr. Nihola Rangel to the stage, who will very briefly let us know more about this course and how it supported people.
Hello, good morning. I'm going to give you a brief about this Sanctuary in Politics. Well, this course that we did is an innovative learning course where there is a recognized for refugees and asylum seekers and any migrants to be provided with the tools how to navigate the difficult and different UK political system. And what's the aim of this course? Well, it's to educate people who are seeking sanctuary about this political system. Secondly, to empower people to have the tools and get involved campaigning, advocacy, and raising awareness. And in third place, we have to ensure that the voices of the people with lived experience are heard by the media, the public audience, and the policymakers. And the main goal is to bring the voice of the people with lived experience into the mainstream. And so how did they do this? Well, we came here, they did some presentations, trainings, assessments, and interactive sessions, and also facilitated discussions. So this course, the aim was to equip new generations of asylum seekers and migrants leaders to reach their fullest potential in a diverse 21st century, outward-looking century, 21st century in the UK. And so, as I said, this training covered public speaking, confidence, storytelling skills, an introduction to the UK political system and the ways how we could engage in this topic, campaigning and advocacy techniques. When we received this invitation, we didn't hesitate to join, to attend, and to work on our projects, because then we could contribute to better this course. All of us must admit that we enjoyed the session so much, but we were so thrilled when we came here to visit the Senedd, because we dreamed that one of us could be one of the members of the Senedd fighting for the rights of refugees. Thank you.
So thank you to Dr. Nella Rangel. So we're now going to have the certificates awarded by Jane Hutt. So if you come up when I say your name, and then if you stay on the stage so that you can have a group photograph at the end as well. So the first one is Almas Lassim. If you wanted to stand them over there for a minute. And the next one is Carlos Ibarra Rivadeneira. No, it's just a certificate. Yes. Akineo Godwin. Fumilayo Bunmilayo Yan. Apologies. Annie Karumba. Niloha Rango. Yasmin Sophie. And we're hoping that Chawan Abdullah has made it here. Chawan Abdullah? Yes, fantastic. So now you've seen their faces, so you know who to go and engage with and find out more about their projects in the coffee break and at lunch. So it gives me great pleasure now to introduce our second keynote speaker, Larissa Agbasso, a Voices Ambassador. So I welcome you to the stage. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to speak on this event. Yeah, but I was thinking that speaking about refugee things is kind of boring and I'm tired of it. And I decided to change my topic. Beautiful weather, nice day, summer holidays to come. Do you like traveling? Adventures? So when we were coming here on the way, we were passing near a travel agency and they were advertising one kind of one-in-a-lifetime experience adventure. So I'm going to tell you about this and you decide if you want to join. So if you're searching for something incredible, authentic experiences, this is the thing to go for it. And this is absolutely legal. Even if somebody tells you it's not legal, you try. So in this adventure, you will experience the culture of a new country and from the hand-picked accommodation. There are several destinations and all of them are on no-choice basis. So if you are not really lucky and you get into a small town, you won't have much fun, not much opportunities, and a lot of options will be closed for you. They will not be available for you. And you will have accommodation. Most of you will have accommodation on that journey. And it will be, don't expect it will be like home, but it will be equipped in fireproof metal wardrobes. And it's likely to be kind of a vintage style building. So, what else? And also, if you're a single male, you can be lucky to get a special place in the resort camp where you can experience culture on your own. But if you go for the priority option, you can choose the town and you can be invited by host and welcomed by host in a special house. So everything depends on your nationality and priority options. Some of you can enjoy great British weather and you can be lucky and be allowed to bring your pets from your home countries. You can come with your cars from your home countries and enjoy life, and you can even travel back and visit your country as soon as you register on your journey here, on your adventure. But if you're of certain nationality, you can win additional trip to a sunny Rwanda. So all options of that adventure. So, and if somebody gives you this now and tell you spend the way you want, what are you going to do with that? What will you must buy a ticket? Any other options? Ice cream? Okay. So there is a rule of this adventure. It's called Healthy 5 a day. So this is what you're going to budget for. And you have a variety of options what you can do with this. For example, you can treat yourself with the bus ride, or you can buy a steak, or you can go for a coffee. But remember, only 5, not more. But if you don't have that 5 a day option, and if you have a 0 option a day, which is very possible on that adventure, and you decide to look for funds to go for a steak or for a coffee, you're in danger. You're risking your life. But if you pass this level, you get extra powers, you get extra rewards. And nothing can scare you anymore. Your budgeting skills will protect you from rising prices, from crisis, from what people are talking about is going, the price of fuel is going up, the price of food is going up, but this made you powerful. Nothing, you can't be scared of anything again. Your budgeting skills are a reward for that. Oh, sorry, if you mind, if I need to make a phone call.
Melanie will give you a red card if you leave.
5 minutes.
No,
Sorry.
no. You can't leave, sorry.
So 5 minutes. I'm really sorry. I need to make the phone call, but not allowed because I have to. It's a rude thing to make you all wait for one person to make a phone call for 5 minutes. But at this time, thousands of people waiting for years for decision of one authority on their life, and they don't get a red card for that. It's always green. And yeah. And joining this adventure is a irreversible choice. You have to prepare to forget everything. You have to prepare to forget your past. You have to forget your present. You have to be ready to forget who you are, what your job was, because you are now a completely different person. You have a different label. You are an adventurer. And all is gone, and you cannot go back. There is no way back. The good thing about this journey is its unpredictability. Your future is unpredictable. You can't plan, you can't dream, you can even be detained tomorrow. And this journey is very educational. You can learn a lot about your own body. You will be surprised with how much you can cry. You will be surprised to know that there will be days when your body will not listen to you and when your body will resist to get and keep moving. And fear, anxiety, shame, and guilt will visit you often, and they can even accompany you. And the good thing about this journey, you no longer need to worry about Christmas or Eid or any other celebration that you're used to. You don't have to spend money for gifts. You don't have to visit. You don't have to travel, because you're just staying on your own, locked home alone, and watch the whole world celebrating. And it's good for your well-being. This adventure is very good for your well-being because you do a lot of walking. Walking is the only means of your moving around, walking with heavy bags, walking to school and then to your English classes. You walk 100% of your time. You walk, so it helps a lot. And you learn about the words and the power of the words, something that we take for granted every day. But in this adventure, you will find it so difficult because often you will not find words to express yourself. You will not find words to talk to people around you. And you will feel like in a cage. And also you will learn to live in two worlds. There will be one, the world where you came from, the world that is absolutely different, where people are suffering, where death is falling from the sky, and people appreciate every second of their life. And there will be the world outside where I smile, I keep going. And you wonder if those both worlds are on the same planet. You will meet different people. There will be people who will think you're an alien who came here to take something that belongs to them. You will think that you will meet people who will smile and talk to you just to put it sick. And there will be people, I wonder if you would be able to meet them if you were not on this adventure. These people will be shining light in the darkness for you. Their hearts are made of gold, and they will do anything to help you. You will know what courage is. You will hear words from those people to support you. And even after years, when you finish that adventure, when you think about those people, the tears of gratitude will be falling from your eyes because of what they've done to you on that adventure. And if you reach the next level and you find your way to education, you will feel like a hungry person who finally found food, delicious food, because education is the power. Education is knowledge. Education is something that gives you control over your life and something that gives you hopes and dreams. I'm almost there. So this journey, thank you, was kindly designed and sponsored by the Home Office. This information was veiled at the moment I was preparing for the speech. On the 28th of June, we had some updates, so we don't know what is going to happen in the nearest future. And if you're ready to book your journey, you can give them a call. They will call you back. Possibly like in 5 months, you have to be patient. But if you decide to stay and not go on that journey, remember, your life is in danger. But if you are the ones who are on that adventure now, this adventure will definitely leave a print on your lives. But it's only you who can decide what print that will be. You have to control your thinking. You have to get busy, show compassion, share your experience. And one day you will be proud that you made it. And one day you will give your unique richness to the country that welcomed you to say thank you.
So thank you, Larissa, for a humorous look at an asylum seeker and refugee's journey. So now we're moving to education, and I'd like to introduce Almas Lassim to the stage. Almas Lassim. You're welcome.
Christ, I hope I said it well. I'm not Almas, my name is Fumi. And good day, everyone. I count it a great privilege to stand before you all. Today, I want to talk to you about my family's experience of education, particularly for those teenagers arriving after their 16th birthday. I arrived in the UK in 2018 with my 2 children. My son got into school immediately, but my daughter was not able because she was a month past school age. No sixth form or the college was willing to accept her because of the timing. I became so anxious and depressed because I was worried about already fragile mental health. She would always lock herself in the room and cry her eyes out every morning when her brother had left for school. There was little I could do than to trust for a miracle. Eventually, Morrison Comprehensive School, Swansea, graciously accepted her into 6th form. I'm entirely grateful to them for that. Though she lost 1 academic year because the remaining 7 months before the end of the academic year was just for her to integrate into the academic system. Imagine if Wales were a nation of sanctuary, where structures have been put in place for sanctuary seekers to be able to access further education as soon as they arrive, not minding the timing. As a 16-year-old asylum seeker, you are not entitled to the Education Maintenance Fund. All my daughter's classmates were receiving theirs. She was the only one in the class that didn't have access to that. I remember that coming home one day and asking me when the nightmare would be over. My answer was, very soon. We went through a lot of financial pressure. For me, having to pay her bus pass to school for a whole year, which was £45 monthly, out of the £37.75 a week support we received from the Home Office, to getting some basic needs for her and her brother. We had to choose between getting her to school daily and eating good and healthy food. No one should have to choose between eating healthy and getting their children to school. Imagine if the Welsh government will extend the free transport scheme to asylum seekers. I couldn't even afford to get them a phone and communicate with them while they're on their way to school or after school. There was no internet in the house then for them to even do their school assignments. It was a nightmare. Imagine if educational maintenance allowance was available to those studying in the sixth form or in college that are asylum seekers, so that they could stop worrying about basic needs like their fellow students. I understand that the Welsh government has been considering this for some years. Why so long to take a decision? After her A-levels, getting into university was another hurdle she needed to cross. According to a Tibetan proverb, a child without education is like a bird without wings. I wanted them to have wings to fly without any barriers, and I was willing to sacrifice whatever it would take. I had to literally save and deprive ourselves of food to be able to pay for our UCAS fee, while trusting for funding because she wasn't entitled to student finance. She had to narrow down her choices to universities that offer sanctuary scholarships. Other barriers she faced were having to write an English test and provide lots and lots of documents before she was finally awarded the sanctuary scholarship. I'm grateful to Cardiff Met for that opportunity. I believe what Nelson Mandela said: education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. If all these barriers are removed, many sanctuary seekers will be able to change their world. I'm pleased to say that today, Gal College Swans is a college of sanctuary, the first in Wales. I was also part of the Schools of Sanctuary Assessment team and presentation of award to Schools of Sanctuary. Today, I'm studying law and legal practice at the University of Wales, Trinity St. David. Thanks to the school for giving me the opportunity under the Sanctuary Scholarship. Let's not forget that not everybody will have access to the scholarships, as there are limited numbers and they're quite competitive. Imagine if the Welsh government could also award a number of scholarships to asylum seekers. I close with this quote by John F. Kennedy: "Our progress as a nation cannot be swifter than our progress in education. The human mind is our fundamental resources." Sadly, I'm still on the asylum journey with my children, but I know there's light at the end of the tunnel. Dial.
Thank you, Funma Maleo. Is Larissa Almas? Yeah, no? Yes, we'll tweak it. So I'd like to welcome Sheena Marsh, the head teacher at Herbert Thompson Primary School, to the stage. So thank you.
Wonderful. Hello, good morning everybody. Bore da. My name is Sheena Marsh and I'm head teacher of Herbert Thompson Primary School in Ely and Cardiff.
And I'm Sarah Painter and I'm the leader of the School of Sanctuary at our school.
And we're very honoured to be here this morning to talk about our experiences as a School of Sanctuary and to follow some amazing speakers. I've got goose pimples listening to what your experiences this morning, how incredible. And to be part of that journey, we feel very, very proud. So we are a School of Sanctuary at Herbert Thompson. And just to give you a little bit about our school and our context, we're based in Ely and Cardiff. We're a very large primary school, so we've got children from the age of 3 to 11. And we've also got a Flying Start unit on site, so children can come to us from the age of 2, as well as having health visitors on site. So it is very much a community school. We're a very diverse school and we're very much proud of our community, and we also serve a very tight-knit community in Ely, Cardiff. So over the years, our population has changed to become more diverse. We've got a range of ethnicities across the school, 37 in fact, and our children speak a variety of languages. We have 28 languages spoken across the school, and a large percentage of those are spoken as a first language. And we are so proud of our children and our community, and also the community in Ely is very much a community feel. We have a lot of parents coming into school, and although we have been restricted a little bit with COVID, we're really pleased that we can start moving towards that again. So we've got a strong vision for our school, and it is what we want for our children when they grow up. So our mission statement is find your talents, let them grow, be the person you'd like to know. So it's all about developing skills and aspirations, but also it's about values and positive behaviours. I'm a mum myself, and there's two things that I want for my children, and that is for them to be happy when they're older and also successful in life, whatever that looks like for them. And that's 100% what we want for every single child who comes to Herbert Thompson. So our vision is about making that happen. We've got 6 core values that are central to everything that we do. We start off with the most important one, which is respect for absolutely everybody. Care, security, diversity, determination and achievement. And our core values drive everything that we do, including being a big fundamental element of our curriculum. So we've got one aim when the children come into school each and every day, and that is for them to feel welcome, for them to feel safe, special and have their needs met. We make sure that when they come into school, we greet them. So every single child is noticed each and every day. They have a personal greeting with their teacher, whether that is a high five, whether it's a hug, whether it's a good morning. Every single child is noticed on a one-to-one level, which is really, really important. We're in circles a lot, so we don't line up, so everybody can see each other, so we can develop social skills and just show how important everybody is. We have toast together in the morning, so we run a breakfast club, but we also have toast for every child, so we come together every day and have toast together, social time, and the children absolutely love that. We also have a values mantra, so we talk about our values each and every day, but we always say, I am loved, I'm important, I'm strong, and I'm special, because that's what we want for all of our children. And we really believe, and we really believe if you hear that enough, eventually every child will believe it. So everything we do, all the support we put in place, is to give children those opportunities. So we've got a range of emotional health and wellbeing support strategies across the school that we use. So we use something called Thrive Approaches, which is all about developing emotional health and wellbeing, but it's also about targeting and dealing with the impact of trauma. So we've got trained practitioners on site who support children across the school. We've also got a room called a cwtch, which is like a nurture base, and in Welsh, a cwtch means hug. And I did see the words cwtch on your beautiful sanctuary coke earlier. And that's what it's all about. It's about making everybody feel welcome. If our children need support, they know that they go to that building, they can have it at any time. We've got members of staff who are highly trained to deliver a range of interventions, including therapeutic interventions. So we've got a therapy dog, we have music therapy, we have play therapy, Lego therapy, to really meet the needs of each and every one of our children. And that's really, really important to us, because if you haven't got the well-being right and your children don't feel safe and secure, they're not going to learn and they're certainly not going to thrive. So everything we do is about developing that. We've also got trained counsellors who are there to support our children every single day, and a facility called Time to Talk, where if children are just having a bad day and they just want to speak to somebody, they can self-refer themselves and they can get the instant support that they need. And alongside that, we also have quiet zones and chill zones for children at playtimes and lunchtimes, where they might find it a bit challenging on the yard. There's too many things going on, especially because we're a big school. So they can work with an adult they trust at playtimes and lunchtimes to do the quiet things that they would like to do.
As Gina said, our values intertwine with everything that we do in our school, and one of our values is security, and we used that value through teaching the children about refugees and Refugee Week last year and this year. One of the things that we did was we put together a website for the children to put all of the things that they've learned onto the website and to be able to share with the rest of the school community. Obviously, due to the restrictions of COVID, we weren't able to meet as a school, so it was really important to us that we still shared our learning. We also, in the foundation phase, we used some books to help the children to understand how it felt to be a refugee and to be able to empathise with that feeling of moving from one place to another, and how it would feel to be a person that was new. And one of those stories with the suitcase, and the children had to think about what they would take from on their journey. A lot of them thought about Xboxes and PlayStations, and we had to explain to them that that wasn't going to be possible, that wasn't going to be electric on the way, and it probably would be very heavy. So then they started to understand that the things that they would have to leave behind, and the things that they would be able to take, and all those things that were really important to them, and just start to empathise with the feeling that children may have being a refugee, moving from one country to another, and being new. We also did that in Key Stage 2, where the children used the boy at the back of the class story to help them to think about and empathise how it feels to be a refugee. The children did drama, they created pictures, they created the lovely piece of material you can see there. They all had a little patch together and they sewed it and put it together. And just that emphasised obviously the one community as well, and just helping the children to really feel that they're part of Herbert Thompson, but also to help them to help children who come to our school to feel part of our school too. We also had some online visitors that were refugees that the children were able to speak to and ask questions from them of their experiences, and to be able to begin to understand how and why they had to move there from one country to another. And we did that last year, and it was so successful. We did that this year as well, and the children got so much out of it, and they really started to understand how it felt and what the word refugee actually meant. Through the pandemic, we found that we needed to really make an extra effort of how to communicate with parents. So we translated a lot of information on our website. We also have translated our welcoming books to help the parents to understand more about our school community and all the information that they may need that's important. We also have Language of the Month, where the children are able to promote their home language and speak to the children in the school about, through their language. We encourage the children to learn a phrase of that language of the month within the classroom. And we've got anti-bullying ambassadors, where the children are able to support their peers about bullying, and also understand what bullying means and how it can affect others, but also online as well as in the school community.
Okay. Also in 2021, we opened our shop, Herbie's Hut. So we repurposed a shipping container to be able to create a shop on site where we could provide food to the community. So we have a number of community members who visit our shop every week. We have organisations that donate food and hygiene products to us, and we also have a partnership with Fair Share, who deliver food to us each and every week. So we are able to give out food parcels if they're needed, hygiene products if needed, but also we have a weekly club that parents come along to. So parents pay £1 to join, and then it's £3.50, and you get a minimum of £15 worth of food, and often it's much more than that. So it's been so successful this year, we're extending it even further next year, and we're looking at setting up a community tea room and a pay-as-you-can laundrette for the community as well. So we're always looking at ways that we can develop and support our community even further. Another thing that we're doing that the children are very proud of and involved in is that we've got our own edible classroom. So the children are now growing their own food as well. So every child in the school gets the opportunity to do that. And then we're selling the food in the shop as well. So you can see the whole journey there. Also, one of our key priorities has been about raising awareness throughout the community. So we sent out a questionnaire to our parents just to really find out what they want to know more about. You know, we wanted to understand, do they understand the difference between migrants, asylum seekers and refugees? So we sent out a questionnaire to our parents online. We had a really good response back from this, and that's enabled us to plan forward. So we've been putting videos on our closed social media groups to really raise awareness across the school, and we've made a really strong effort to celebrate cultural events and festivals and inform our parents all about that as well. We've also had a whole school initiative where we raised money for the Oasis Centre in Splot, and the whole community came together to do that, and it was just wonderful. We were standing on the gates with buckets raising money, and parents were coming up and asking questions. It was a really good opportunity to share exactly what we've been doing as a school and the important work of the Oasis Centre as well. And as I said, we're sharing information. At this point, it's been a lot on our social media, but next year we've got plans of being able to have more cultural events and festivals shared back in school now the COVID restrictions are easing.
And moving forward, we're hoping to have a Young Interpreters Club where the children can help support families that are moving into the community and support the children that are new to the school who don't speak English. We're hoping to have go to other schools and share our good practice, and they can come and share our practice as well. And we're also hoping to have a pay-as-you-go laundrette, and in the future we're going to have a tea room that will help with the community as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for sharing all the amazing things the school does, and look forward to hearing how you share good practice in the future. So I'd like to now welcome Almas Lassim to the stage, so thank you.
Apologies, my name been mentioned so many times, been called, but I was waiting for my mom to be the honor and come here and see me giving a speech. So my name is Almas. You can call me Diamond if you like. I'm going to tell you a story close to my heart. It's a story of a young girl. She was born and raised in Iraq by two loving parents, happy, confident, carefree girl. Growing up being passionate about politics and human rights, her fearless nature drove her to join the army as a nurse. In time of war, she felt her duty to protect her family and her loved ones. As she was believing in Nelson Mandela quote, "What counts in life, it's not the mere fact that we have lived, it is what difference we have made to the lives of others." Months gone by to her training. One day she woke up before leaving home, kissing her parents goodbye. For some reason, she grabbed a family album that caught her attention. Walking and looking through the photo album, looking through all the beautiful memories she had so far, she felt if she only knew some sincerely senses by and smitten by the beauty of her life. She had the album, these memories does to her heart. 45 minutes walking to school and all insinuating innocent smile, anticipating, wondering, the daydreaming of the future looking forward for her. Just about to enter her classroom, all of a sudden a huge explosion rocked the school buildings. She was surrounded by broken glass, dust, screaming, shouting, and yelling. But the worst has yet to come. She heard someone shouting, "The door has been hit repeatedly over and over." The door was where she lived. She ran toward her home, and all she saw, everything what she knew has turned to dust. As you can imagine, she had nothing to live for anymore. It took her 18 years to overcome this trauma. That little girl is me. Now, I am more stronger and I'm more ambitious. We are all different. We are all come from different backgrounds, different languages, refugees, different philosophies, views, and attitude. No matter how different we are from each other, we're still human. I couldn't be here where I am now without the family support. I call them family, but they call themselves neighbors, solicitors, support workers, friends, doctors, and nurses. And my long journey began, writing became my healer. My parents always told me, try to be the rainbow in someone's cloud. Taking on projects that would benefit the disadvantaged people and helping others. I had a chance to, before the pandemic 2 years ago, had a chance to get a support from the Institute of Century to make a project called, I became with the project. I am the founder of the project, Learning Through Playing project, which help most needed parents who newly arrived to the UK to learn English jointly with their toddlers. It is important for schools, colleges, and universities to be place of sanctuary. I am proud to be a student at Gower College, the first college of sanctuary in Wales. By being here together, it means we all have a similar dream. Time has come to live the dream. Ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, we are all one voice. We are voices. Thank you.
Thank you to Larissa. And now we're moving on to get the voices of young people and how that is a really important thing. And we'd like to hear from the young people that are involved in Trosgynol Plant, Cymru. So if they'd like to come to the stage. Thank you.
Is that okay? Sorry, we're just working out the logistics. Yeah? Me? You? Salal? I'm going to go after Chris. Okay. It's okay. Hi everyone, it's really great to be here. Thank you for letting us all speak today. So me and Chris work for TGP Cymru, so we work with young asylum seekers and refugees aged between 11 and 25. We offer advocacy, specialised advocacy, and then participation opportunities. So we've just got a few of our guys here today who wanted to have their voices heard and just share some of their stories with you around the themes and just have their voices heard in the Senedd. And I know it's some of their first times here as well, so it's really good for them to see where the government does their thing. So I think Chris is going to go next and then Talal.
Yeah, hi everyone. The participation opportunities the Belong Project offers aims to give young people a safe space and a sense of community and help to reduce feelings of loneliness and isolation. Recently, we took 9 young people on a residential for 5 days with the Cambrian Wildwood Project. One young person who came on this trip recently arrived in the UK and he suffered with really bad nightmares. On the trip, he said he slept a lot better, and on returning, he said he enjoyed the fresh air and making new friends. He said he also often thinks about those activities we did and how much the trip helped him, and and that it helped him a lot, and he's a lot happier for doing it. So next you'll hear from Talal, who's one of the young people who came on the trip with us.
Hello, good morning all. I am Talal, I am a refugee from Kuwait. I'm coming 8 months ago. I'm studying English in ESOL class now. I want to thank First, I want to thank TGB Group to have the chance Second, I want to thank you all for everything. Third, I am thanks for TGB group for the camping, because we have many things do and many things we learn in camping about the old life, about how we made it think from nothing, about many things. And when I'm coming to here, I don't have any friends, and TGB group makes me made many friends here and many friends in school. Or I want to thank them about that every week, Wednesday, when we go in Trinity, they give many things like thing to play in and thing to make, chance to write in, chance to finish work in school. When I'm coming here 8 months ago, I doesn't have any language, or I'll start from zero. Now I am doing a speech. I am not the best in English or can do the language, but I am just have a try and go to any chance. When I am 10 years old, my father left me with my family. I am the bigger brother in my family. I do everything I can, work. I'm not studying anymore, not any math, science, anything, but now I am in higher level maths, science, or all these things. Yeah. Now when I'm coming across the sea. One day after I'm coming, 20 people has died. But when we come in, we don't have any chance or anything. We have only two choose, or bad or worst. You come in, cross the sea, and 20% to die or anything happened. But we just have all one thing to choose, and we choose that. And hard is anything you do is hard. Nothing is easy, but when you try, when you do it many times, again and again and again, you do what you want. You not say, your dream is not only what you say, your dream is only what you do. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Moses Bell. I'm from Sierra Leone. It's my pleasure to meet you all here today, and I may like to tell you how excited I am to be in this building today. To start with, I'm pleased to say a special thanks to the people in Wales for welcoming asylum seekers and refugees in Cardiff. A special thanks to TGP for giving me this opportunity to be in this hall today to speak with beautiful faces, beautiful people, and to tell them my experience and the things you have been doing for asylum seekers. And thank you once more, the people in Wales, for being loyal and friendly to asylum seekers. It's really hard to be an asylum seeker. Sometimes we go through sorrow moments. Sometimes we face a lot of things. Some of us have been through Some of us have experienced traumatic events, been through depression and anxiety, but thank you all for giving us the confidence, and thank you all for trying to bring us joy back in our life. And I'd like to say thank you again to CGP for introducing me to different organizations like Prince Trust, Space for You, and OCs, for letting me know as asylum seeker I can get support and help from them. And countless of other people who have been experienced traumatic events, suffering from depression and anxiety, have been working very hard to make us happy, bring us joy in our life. I was excited to know about Prince Trust and the 6 weeks course I am doing with them. It helped me to meet new people, make new friends, and improve my English skills. And it also helped me to know about Down to Heart. They helped me to learn about construction works, and they taught me how to use tools, and they helped me to know about the essence and value of nature as human beings. They have been helping me in building my confidence to communicate with people, learn about emergency first aid, and do some practical with them. That was really, really good. I was really excited about that, and I was very happy. I would like to say thank you by ending my speech. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here today. I appreciate you and thank you, and I pray that you guys can keep helping asylum seekers and refugees as we have been going through some frustration by the Home Office. It's really hard. But I pray that you guys can keep doing much by keep asylum seekers and refugees happy and welcoming us in the UK. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Damilola Olaniyan, and I'm here to share my experience. When I and my family arrived here in the UK, it's like I wasn't able to get into school because of my age at that time. But within a few months, I got into sixth form. Where I come from, we speak English, so it wasn't difficult for me to communicate with people, with others. But what was difficult for me at that time was the different learning system, which I have adapted to. After my sixth form, getting into the university is one of my biggest achievements, but it wasn't easy as there were barriers whereby I could not have access to student funds like the way others did, which made me depressed and anxious. I was introduced to the TGP Cameron by my mother, where I met lovely people like Lee and Amy, who made me feel happy and made me know that my voice can be heard, and that I didn't have to be alone in whatever I was going through. I happened to work one-to-one with an advocate named Amy from the TGP group, and I stand here today to say that with their help and effort, I got the scholarship into the University of Cardiff, Met. I also happen to be a part of an interview insight on how interviews are being taken place and how to help, and that helped with my learning and communicating skills. A famous quote by Malcolm X says, "Education is passport to the future." If there were enough education from my place of origin concerning the female body, I wouldn't have needed to flee from the fear of FGM. Education is important, and that's why I am learning and looking forward to my future. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sultan Awolmate, and today I'll be speaking about unemployment. But to start off, myself and Amir are representing asylum seekers and refugees through the TGP Cymru at the Welsh Parliament. Unfortunately, Amaya is not here today. Me and Amaya are both in the Education Committee, focusing on getting more ESOL classes for the refugees and asylum seekers, where my focus is on, which is employment. There continue to be a large amount of young people who are not employed, and they cannot control the situation. There's so much pressure on getting a job once you finish secondary schools. You're told on how hard the outside world will be, and it hits you when you apply for a job and you realize the space for you working in an organization is extremely limited. Jobs and organizations want people that are over the age of 18 with experience and opportunities, experience and knowledge of the job. Then you have to wait for months or even years before getting opportunity to work. As a young person that just finished school, well, I just finished college now. I'm going to uni, but at the time it was quite. At the time, it was quite hard getting into work after finishing secondary school. Applying for job was difficult. We should have the opportunity to work in an organization that will allow us to gain the experience, gain the qualities, gain the skills and the knowledge. It sometimes feels as you can only get a job if your parent knows someone who can give you an opportunity. What if you're not privileged as other people that know someone? What if you're a refugee that just come to this country not knowing as much people? How are you going to get into that job after finishing secondary school? Are you going to wait till you know someone, and before that time comes? It could take longer than it usually is for some people that are very privileged to get a job. And then it is a different story, and then this should not be the case, because regardless of who you know, everyone should be able to work. Unemployment has adversely affected mental health. If parents expect young people to start paying bills they can't afford, as a cause of this, the kid may get kicked out, leading to possible homelessness and vulnerability, which can result in them joining gangs and committing crimes in society. Having a job helps young people stay productive, and this will help have a positive impact on the society and the economy. We cannot deny the fact that coronavirus has had an impact on our lives and has caused many young people to lose their jobs. At the time, obviously, I didn't have a job, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that may have lost their job within that time where coronavirus was at its peak, and obviously caused a lot of people to be, financially, the financial problem was really bad for other people at that point in time. And can you imagine for people that are not as financially wealthy, or and they don't have that much money? At that point, it was very peak for them, because they don't have any other income of money if their parent lose their job, or if them as well, they don't have job as well to work. Having a job as a young person, we stay busy and productive, and impact on society as well. Company needs to start giving young people experience rather than asking for experience for them. Government needs to ensure more opportunities by ensuring that there is enough jobs out there for young people, making sure that immediately they come out of school, they have a place to either go for work experience, more work experience for young people, and making sure that jobs are available for them to work. I don't have to wait for 2 years before I get an experience. For me to get that experience, I have to make sure I work to get the experience. The experience doesn't just come from me staying at home. And also creating a welfare system that supports young people to find employment and training. By reducing legislation that creates a barrier preventing employers taking on young people. And removing ethical barriers that stops young people from applying for jobs. The Bain Group will, in most cases, feel that there's no need to apply for jobs in certain places because of it is dominated by white people, and they feel as though that they have no chance in getting hired. For me, my experience in first applying for my first job, it was very hard because from people experience, and I also thought I cannot just be blindsided by what other people are saying. It also happens in real life. I used to think that if I apply for a job, sometimes I have to change my last name. As crazy as that sounds, that is the honest truth, because your name will sound very ethical and you will think that's a barrier in stopping you on getting a job. Because I know that sounds very crazy, but honestly and truly, that's really the case for most people. If you are feeling like that, sometimes people actually use that name, use a different name, and they do get into the job, whereas using your actual name will not get you into the job, and that's just how it is. Combating cultural biases to overcome young people feeling they cannot apply for a job because of how ethnic their name sounds, which is something I just talked about. Your name could, like I'm from Nigeria, and our names are very long. It could be Oluwa, something. It starts from something like that. It's very long, and that sometimes just screams ethnic, just screams Nigeria, just screams someone that comes from a different background. It doesn't scream Josh. It doesn't scream a common name that you would normally see in a white person. And lastly, increasing diversity in work. When I apply for a job, I think also about the people that are in the work. If I don't see people like me in the work, I feel as though I might not be accepted in this workplace. I feel as though this place is probably not for me because I don't see people like myself working in that organization. So I might not want to apply for that because there's no point of me trying. But I have learned that no matter what, you still have to try and apply. You still have to try and go for it and just, give it a go. Just have to try it. And then if the government acts on these suggestions that I have given of young people, there will be more opportunities for us, resulting in an improved well-being and mental health, greater independence and benefit to this economy. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Chao and I come from Iraq. I am a member of TGP Simir for 4 years. Today I want to talk about my own experience about education in the UK. I was about 15 years when I came to the UK. With my family, I just knew yes and no in English. I experienced lots of hard time till I get where I am now. I found hard when I was the asylum seeker and different from other children because I couldn't get EMA like them in college, going to holiday, choosing a place to live, get a job. I just had a £5 a day to live. It was difficult to study, cope my stress and well-being because of that hard time I've been as asylum seeker. I couldn't do my GCSE because my language barriers. Because of that, I spent more years in college. The situation I will never forget, it was a day they told me I couldn't continue my education because I turned 20 years old. Because of asylum seeker who over age of 19 can't do study. TGB Simiru and TCC, Together Creating Community, helped me to start my education again. With the sport of Together Creating Community, TCC, I am a leader of making my college to be a college of sanctuary, and it will be the first college of sanctuary in Wales at Wrexham. After I learned English, I started doing health and social care in college. After all my difficult time, I finished my college last month, and I applied. And I applied for adult nursing, and I've got a place of University South of Wales in Cardiff. Also, I'm a care practitioner at nursing home in Wrexham. I've got my state in 2019, but I hope no more children experience what I experienced. I hope children get the sport that they want and not leave education because of their hard time. Keep swimming, you will get what you want. Thank you.
Okay, there's a short film now. So.
Put yourself in our shoes. If you face discrimination in your life, we are young asylum seekers and refugees living in Wales, and we want to tell you about our experience and share our culture and thoughts with you.
Rhowch eich hun yn ein sgidiau.
Hãy đầu Senedd.
Đặt bạn vào vị trí của chúng tôi.
ضع نفسك في مكاني.
I had to leave because of the violence in my country. Traveling to Wales was a dangerous and it was a long and scary journey. Put yourself in my shoes.
كان يجب أن نقادر لكي نستطيع أن نعيش. لم يكن أمامنا خيار. لو كان لديك أطفال ألم تفعل نفس الشيء؟ لهذا السبب أنا هنا. ضع نفسك مكاني.
People laughed and asked why I covered my hair with a scarf. I said it was because I like it. Put yourself in my shoes.
I was mocked and humiliated because my English wasn't very good. They might have been kinder if they understood how it felt to be in a new country without speaking the language. Put yourselves in my shoes.
I went someone for advice, and they were so rude to me. I felt like crying. I didn't get the advice I needed. Put yourself in my shoes.
بعض المواطنين كانوا يحملون اللافتات تقول ارجعوا إلى بلدكم، وبعض الناس كانوا متعاطفين وداعمين للاجئين. حياتنا كانت في خطر. لا أحد يريد أن يترك عائلته إلا إذا كانت هناك أسباب لذلك. ضع نفسك في مكاني.
Put yourself in the shoes of a young asylum seeker. You've had to flee your home country for safety and move to a new country where you don't know the language, the culture, or anything.
When I arrived, I didn't know anyone, where to get help, or what I was entitled to. Some people shouted, "Go back to your own country," and say that we're here to get money and housing and steal your jobs. This isn't why we came. We came because we wanted to live.
I was in the worst condition I've ever been when I got here. I felt terrible. I was homeless, didn't speak much English, and didn't understand the asylum seeking process.
I was told by a member of the staff at college that I couldn't carry on my course. They said if I hadn't got my refugee status yet, then I wasn't going to. This wasn't true.
I felt lonely and broke. I felt like I was less than others, that I didn't have any rights, but now I feel like I have power. We are proud to be living in Wales and learning about the culture here. And we are also part of our culture and the things that are unique and special to us. By learning about one another, it helps us to understand each other better.
Kurdish and Arabic people are very animated and loud when they speak. It might come across like we're angry, but we're not. We celebrate Nowruz or New Year in the spring. We light fires and wear colorful clothes to celebrate.
نحترم كبار السن في ثقافتي ويجب أن نساعدهم.
We welcome people into our houses to eat when we meet them. Some may be cautious, but it is in our culture to share food.
We celebrate Ramadan for a month and don't eat or drink in the day. We pray and do good things. It would be great if people could share their culture with their class during celebrations like this.
The Moon Festival is a time that we give thanks to God and to our families. Often moon cakes are given to children.
Educating children early is important. They will learn not to feel scared or threatened by differences, to empathize and respect each other. This will help stop discrimination. We need to create sanctuaries where people feel safe and free from discrimination. We need organizations, education settings, and the nation to become a sanctuary for all, where differences are taught, understood, and celebrated.
The world is a diverse place. Whatever race, religion, age, gender you are, it doesn't matter. We are all one, and by working together, we can achieve something beautiful.
Put yourself in our shoes, and change can happen.
That was scary. Thank you to the speakers that have shared so much of themselves this morning. We haven't finished. There is a break for half an hour. There's tea and coffee upstairs, and I'd ask that you would come back at 12 because you will be able to hear more, and Shavana will be leading the employment section next. So thank you very much for your time, and please don't disappear. Thank you.
a spare chair.
I was like thinking, is that her name? Okay. Well, I was thinking of okay.
Thank you. It's good for the food, for speaking. That's what I'm thinking. Dry up or something.
I think I can see.
That's the thing, isn't it?
They were all panicking then. They were wondering, where is she going? Thanks everyone for coming back. I know it can be a bit of a drag sometimes, especially when you've had a break and coming back to the session. I'm Shavana Taj. I am the General Secretary of the Wales Trade Union Congress. And I want to thank the Welsh Refugee Coalition for inviting me to chair this session on employment. I think the session that we just had before now, there were some of the young speakers talked about their own experiences of trying to access employment and some of the barriers that they face, but also they touched upon some of the opportunities and some of the opportunities that actually we can, as a nation of, in Wales, can really benefit from, because you can see the numbers of people who are coming who are, seeking better futures for themselves, but also are looking to see if they can remain and have a future here in Wales. So our economy can definitely benefit from many of the young people that we've heard from today. Now, in Wales, we always say that, that Wales is a nation of sanctuary. The sanctuary in the Senedd itself has established itself as a key event for civil society in Wales, and it represents the best of what a modern, compassionate and outward-facing democratic institution can actually look like. And it's really vital for the health of our democracy in Wales that our Senedd is not simply, the home of old-fashioned kind of party political debate, but there is actually a place where we can all come together, that we can gather, that we can listen, and that we can share, but also learn from each other's lived experiences as well. Now, we've got a really excellent panel here today to discuss some of the challenges that refugees in Wales are facing when it comes to finding work, but equally when it comes to ensuring that the work that they find is of good quality and that it provides them with some proper opportunities, real opportunities to progress in work as well. So I'm going to be quite brief and just make a couple of quick points before we get on to the panel session. Firstly, I want to acknowledge that there remains a number of people in Wales who are seeking sanctuary here and who are banned from working at all. The UK government's continuous insistence on preventing asylum seekers from working while their claims are being processed is one of the most ridiculous laws that's ever been put onto our statute book, and that is the face of considerable competition. Now, we know that letting people work is actually good for the individual and their families, but it's also really good for integration and social cohesion and good for the economy as well. And I want to emphasize that the Wales TUC's continued support for the campaign to lift the ban, and I look forward to working with many of you here on this in the future. Now, secondly, I want to highlight the key points that the Welsh Refugee Coalition have put forward about how things could be improved for refugees in Wales, even with the very limited powers that Welsh Government currently has in this area. For example, we most definitely need greater consideration of refugees within employment plans and an expansion of employment support for refugees. We need to provide proper training opportunities for both refugees and people seeking asylum to prepare them for when they are working in the UK. We need to make sure that we provide clear information to new refugees, people who are seeking asylum, and all agencies on what individuals need to do and where those agencies can get help. And finally, I want to highlight the role that trade unions play here in Wales in supporting people in work, and the bigger role that we should be playing in ensuring the refugees who do find work in Wales are fully empowered and recognised and seen in the workplace. By joining a trade union, you are able to take back control and protect yourself from exploitation, bad bosses and abuse. Particularly at a time of spiralling living costs. Everyone has been talking about a cost of living crisis. We're actually in the midst of a cost of living emergency. This is not an issue that we are facing solely here. It is a global matter. Now, we always talk about that there is power in a union, there is power in collective action, and there is very much power in this room. And what you have to, really recognize is that in Wales we operate on a very, very different basis. We have a Welsh government that makes sure that they do everything that they try their best to try and deliver on many of the promises that they make. And sometimes people get frustrated because of the fact that they go, well, we've got ministers here in the Senedd saying the following things, and then we've got ministers like the outgoing Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, who has his own position, and Priti Patel the Home Secretary, who has her own position. I mean, the fact that they believe that at a time like this, that their best answer to protecting the economy is to shift people off to Rwanda is very telling of the difference of the kind of governments that you have. Here we have a government that does very openly say that we are a nation of sanctuary. We want to be reflective. Our Senedd is due to expand. I would like to see more people who look like many of the individuals who were on this stage earlier to enter into politics, because you have the answers. You have the answers, but also you bring with you a real rich element of experience and knowledge that sometimes many workplaces are actually currently lacking. So don't forget that, keep building on that. And, my hope today is that we can spur on greater engagement and find ways of better working together that will go some way at least to mitigating the impact, of course, that the UK government's cruel and wrong-headed policies are having on people. So that's me. Those are my opening remarks. And next, I would like to invite Dr. Herman Graf from Displaced People in Action to say a few words.
Thank you for the nice words. It's really encouraging to know that you have support from Trade Union Congress. Is important for us, I mean asylum seekers and refugees. She has introduced me as Dr. Herman Graf, that's me. And I will first of all start by saying a special word to one of my young friends. He was here with TGP from Kuwait. He said something that really touched my heart. He said he came here with zero. But I just want to tell you that you are a hero, okay? We've seen so much happening recently in the news regarding asylum seekers and refugees, not in the bright and, light that we are as individual people being shipped, or they want to ship them to Rwanda. It's wrong, but I'm not going to go into politics. I will just refrain from that. And 2 days ago, I think you may have followed the news with Sir Mo Farah coming out with his story, which is really touching. That's what people need to know. He is a hero, 4 times Olympic champion. He came here as a displaced child, trafficked. So you will be the next hero. Trust that. So I'm from Ivory Coast, that's West Africa. And when I came here as well, like my friend, English was really zero for me because I'm from a French-speaking country. And I came with little English in 2011. I left my country fleeing political persecution. And in Ivory Coast, I was an established doctor with great experience in general practice. So coming to the UK was not an easy decision for me to take because I left behind me everything I've worked for and part of my family as well. I remember 5 years ago, I was on that same platform, giving a talk as well to the kind of same panel. And I was an asylum seeker at that time, desperate to work as an NHS doctor. Today is a different story. And since last year, June 2021, after 10 years waiting, I've been granted the right to stay legally in this country. And I'm proud to say that I am an NHS doctor today. It's been a long journey and difficult journey, but it's been made possible by the amazing support that my family and we've received from the lovely people we've met here in Wales. And also from an organization that stood for us from the very beginning. Here I am today, proud of being an NHS doctor, but above all, I'm truly thankful to DPIA, Displaced People in Action, and the World Group, Welsh Asylum Seekers and Refugees Doctor, not only for the opportunity given to me, but simply put, for treating me as an individual, as a human being, with his dream and hope. They've patiently helped me and many other asylum seekers and refugees to achieve the dream of practicing medicine again. The General Medical Council registration process can be daunting. It's a long process, expensive, especially for asylum seekers and refugees. The barrier to revalidate your medical qualification are huge to practice in the UK. But the goal of the World Group, the Welsh Asylum Seekers and Refugees Doctor, is to help doctors and dentists across Wales to revalidate their qualification and achieve a career within the NHS. Without this kind of support, it's hard for a refugee or asylum seeker to independently overcome the financial, logistical, and mental barriers to restart their career within the NHS. After assisting me through the registration process, they offered me a paid superannuation, so it's a job to help you get into the NHS, and it's a paid job. So I was part of that scheme, and I want to tell you that the World Group was the first scheme of its kind in the UK, and they remain the only one that provide paid supernumerary posts to help introduce asylum seekers and refugee doctors in the NHS. Today, after completing my supernumerary post, I am now an NHS doctor, thanks to DPIA. But above all, my experience of being an asylum seeker impacts how I do my job today in the NHS. It's helped me to see people beyond their medical condition. I see now people as a whole person with the struggle, with the life. My lived experience helped me to demonstrate compassion to people and appreciation in my duty as a doctor, because it's really important to share compassion, love to the people you are treating. When I tell people that I came here as an asylum seeker, they're surprised. They're really surprised. But I want to tell people that displaced people or asylum seeker, whichever way you want to call them, are individuals that can offer society a lot. If only they find a place to call home, like Wales Nation of Sanctuary. If only they find organizations like DPIA to assist them achieving their dream. And if only they find people that show love unconditionally, like the warm welcome I received from people in Wales when I was randomly relocated to Newport under the Home Office dispersal scheme. As a campaigner, I will finish by saying that the right to work for asylum seeker is really important. And I know that immigration is not a devolved matter in Wales, but I will finish by pleading the Welsh government to use their working relationship with the UK government to give asylum seekers doctors that are registered with the GMC the right to work in the NHS. That will help the NHS. At that time of coronavirus, I remember when the pandemic started, I was registered with the GMC at that time, so got the license to practice. I was job ready, but I was still an asylum seeker. So I wrote especially to the Home Office, to my MP, to the GMC, for an exemption, because they were calling medical students, they were calling retired GP, they were calling retired doctors, but they just skipped asylum seekers with the right qualification to help the NHS. I think that is wrong. it's wrong, because asylum seekers can bring a lot to this society. And I think that I am proof of it today by working in the NHS.
Thank you to Herman. Okay, so next we are going to have a really good little panel discussion. We have Dr. Nilohar Rangal from the Red Cross Voices Ambassador. We've got Chris Hughes from the Welsh Refugee Council. We have Larissa Agbaso from the Red Cross Voices Ambassador Network. We have Tony Daly from Careers Wales, and we have Gaynor Williams from Job Centre Plus. So you've got mics in front of you, so try and use them if you can, otherwise just project your voices if you can. So the first question that I have is for maybe for Larissa and Dr. Nilohar. What have been your experiences of finding a job?
I'm going first. Oh my God. We didn't agree on that I'm going first.
It's okay, I can go.
Okay, so
Go for it.
I don't know about experiences of going first, but I'll go about experience of finding a job. So my journey started in this country in 2014 when I came as an asylum seeker from Ukraine, and I used to teach English as a foreign language back home, so it was very helpful. At least I could communicate with people and try and learning how to navigate life, but it was still hard because everything was completely different. And the question I asked myself, except the question about life and changing of identity, who am I? Who needs my English here now? And I was going through severe traumatic experiences for 2 years. It was hard for me. Even the hardest part, I think, in finding the job in future was to leave the bed and make yourself leave the house. And that is where my journey to finding a job has begun. I found myself in the Red Cross, and that was the moment I understood I wasn't completely useless. Somebody needed my English. And I assisted in classes, and I met a lot of women. It was women's class, and I met a lot of women who were going through the similar experiences. And that power of shared experiences I met in Red Cross was really helpful, and it was like an engine that kept me moving. From there, I was lucky to get a scholarship in Cardiff Met University and do my master's in teaching English as a second language. And I think now, after getting my right to remain after 7 years, and imagine I'm coming from Ukraine, from war-torn Ukraine, that now is welcomed, and I had to fight with Home Office for 7 years. But to be honest, I'm really grateful for Home Office for giving me this opportunity, because if not for them, I wouldn't find myself, I wouldn't find a place where I belong. And possibly I will find myself just walking somewhere that is just like something that is not close to my heart. So now, if I have 2 jobs, and if I tell you, if somebody asks me, if there is paradise on earth, I will say yes. And they are my both jobs. So I work with Mental Health Foundation, and you can see them here. They are just angels. They accepted me, and I feel so welcome there. And this is where I will say that my vulnerability turned into value. I worked for Birthing Project, that means belonging in Welsh, and I'm a research assistant into the well-being of asylum seekers and refugees, so something that is very close to my heart. And I didn't tell you, but I can tell you that I noticed they really appreciate what I say, and sometimes they have a plan, but if I put what I think, they can really change it, and you feel you feel valued, and I think this is very important. I never felt like a migrant. I never felt like a stranger there. This is the truth. It's not because I'm here and you listen to me.
Thank you, Larissa.
No, I didn't finish yet.
Oh, sorry. I keep getting a card, so if I'm not careful, so
it's you,
that's
not
fine.
Me.
It's for the panel, to be fair.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, and my second job, and I always feel uncomfortable to speak about that, but it's so connected. I work as an assault teacher in college in Newport, and believe me, I love the place. And it's painful to hear students saying that, teacher, who am I? I can't do anything. I'm a stranger in this country. No, you're not strangers. You were strong enough to come here. You have to be strong enough to build your future here. What was that the question? So everything was fast and easy for me in terms of job, but it's only because of home office for 7 years of volunteering, finding myself where I belong. And I can't say I had any issues. I had my network. I knew what I wanted to do. And just try, get busy, find a way. But I think a lot of charities, they have to create that space. Because I found myself, I found somebody who needed me with my language teaching skills. So, yeah.
Did you just get a card?
Yeah,
Did you just get the card?
You get a card. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
just,
thank you.
I think
You
we
can
need
come
more
carry on.
spaces for volunteering, for
Yeah.
more options, so people can learn and get skill and work experience, like those young people said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Larissa. Dr. Niederhall?
Well, I totally agree with her because I know that the Welsh government has worked tirelessly to help us in education, employment, and all these sort of things. But I believe that it's needed to have some internships, trainings related to your previous skills, or even if you have newer skills. Let me tell you my case. I'm also a doctor with 2 master's degrees. My country, I'm a pediatrician and neonatologist. And I just applied for a job during the COVID pandemic just to be an immunizer. And I said, because in my country, the nurses are not the ones who immunize. It's the pediatricians who do that. I said, I can be an immunizer. So I sent my CV and said, no, you are overqualified. It's too much. You can't. I said, why not? I am the proper person, you know. I do want to help to tackle this COVID pandemic. He said, no, you are overqualified. We'd rather train someone from scratch instead of having you that you know everything about it. I said, how come, you know? So they are not giving us the opportunity to fit in the system whilst we are not allowed to work, you know? So I believe that on some other cases, for example, I got a friend who is a teacher. She could be a teacher assistant, but she's not allowed, you know? So we need to create more spaces for this. And also, there was a lady, she is a fashion designer, very popular in her country, and she couldn't do anything, you know? She could have joined a factory or somewhere else to be trained or to just become or get in touch with the language, or in case of the doctors to set a foot in the NHS. Well, I campaign, I push, because I did push. And I got an internship at the Cardiff Hospital, Children's Hospital.
Amazing.
Yeah, but because I was pushing. So, you know, we need that kind of opportunities because you become in touch with the language, you start networking, you start listening your career, your medicine, or whatever it is again. So we need that, you know. And the other thing is, you go to the job center. I know there are some people from the job center. They want to help, but they say, no, you got to go and work in a factory. No, I'm not going to work in a factory, you know. I don't want my qualifications to get extinct, you know, because being a doctor in this country is a lengthy and hard process. So what am I going to do in a factory? I want to be somewhere where, you know, it's related to my career. So that's another thing, you know. You can't waste your time because if you are going to go to a factory, you won't be able to study and pass all these horrible exams. So that's the thing. So it should be more open to our previous skills, or if we have a new skill. That's what I think. That's the job center should be more open in relation to this, and even the whole structure of this, to give us more opportunities to fit in. Because at the end of the day, I know a lot of asylum seekers that they don't have the status yet. They are working underpaid. So what's happening? So we are leading them what is named and called modern slavery. And we really want to tackle this. We shouldn't allow this. Yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair that we have to go in the black market as modern slaves.
I think that you make some really important points there, and that leads me nicely on to the next question. What can we do to make it easier for refugees to find a suitable job? So I don't know whether Gaynor or Tony or somebody wants to come in.
Yeah, I'll start then, I don't mind. Yes, so I think you mentioned language, so language is very important. So to be able to talk to people in the language of their choice, you know, to try and bring in tools to do that, and to recognise previous qualifications. You know, this is very important in people's careers journey. If they've had qualifications from before, is understanding those qualifications, recognising them, making sure that they are transferred to UK qualifications as well. And being where people need us as well. So, you know, to be able to give support to people is to be out there in the public eye, is to be in the welcome centres, you know, so that we can be making sure that we're giving people advice and guidance straight away at that initial part of their journey about what they need to move forward. And then for me as a practitioner and for my colleagues as practitioners in Careers Wales and the Work in Wales service, it's about working in partnership with people like the Job Centre and people like Chris in the Welsh Refugee Council to ensure that we get in the best information and all of the opportunities that we can to help you know, people get into work, to gain the skills that they can get. And sometimes it's down to funding, you know, looking at where the skills gaps are, so talking to people about, you know, the current skills gap they may have, and then looking at where we can access funding. We're very lucky with the Welsh Government does fund, you know, the React Plus programme, etc., so that we can look at funding to gain qualifications to get into that labour market. So, you know, these are some of the things that we can do to help, really.
Brilliant, thank you, Tony. Gaynor, do you want to jump in?
On top of what Tony's already eloquently said, I think it is about people understanding where they can get support and help to get to their journey's end, what they need to do. There is a whole range of support that is available out there. And, you know, when you go into the job centre, the work coach should be talking about what help is available. It can be anything from volunteering to work experience. We have funding for vocational learning as well. So, you know, if you've got a career aspiration, it is worth speaking to your work coach about that and what we can offer to support that road. I mean, there are limits to what can be done in the short term, but, you know, we do look at long-term goals as well. So it may be in the short term, we're asking you to do one thing, but at the same time planning long term of where you want to be ultimately and how you're going to get there. And I think that's a big part of you know, getting into a career rather than just a job.
Yeah. Thanks, Gaynor. And the next question I have is for Chris. How can we better support people that have qualifications to transfer them for use in the UK and to develop language skills that enable people to use these qualifications in medicine, teaching, for example?
Okay, so yeah, there's two parts to this really. So the first part is, what do people do if they have qualifications from overseas? And there is an organisation called ENIC that will give a statement of comparability so that people in the UK know what that qualification is equivalent to here. And I know that Tony and his colleagues there, they have funding that can help people apply for this statement of comparability. But I think then we have an issue in that a lot of employers do not have enough faith in this system. They don't understand that you have the statement of comparability. It means nothing to a lot of employers. They don't have the time to do the research. So I don't know, possibly if we could get someone from the Welsh Government to maybe have a promotional campaign. Maybe we can do it with the Welsh Refugee Coalition, to help employers understand about these overseas qualifications. But then there's another issue here, is the language skills to use those qualifications. Now, if we're talking about professional qualifications like teaching or medicine, then you will find that most people already have a good level of English. And so they only need to do a sort of top-up course, really, to make sure that they have the right level of English to do the jobs that they're doing. Obviously, if you are working in medicine, it is vitally important that you are able to communicate with your colleagues. So that I know the ward group from DPIA, they do a lot of work helping dentists and doctors pass their English tests. So they can pass the IELTS English test or the OET English test, and following on from that, they can sit the professional exams in English. Unfortunately, at the moment, there is not that provision for overseas trained nurses. And we know that the NHS is under extreme pressure, so we need more people from a medical background to be able to study for their English tests and then use these professional qualifications, professional experience that they already have.
Great, thank you, Tony. And then another question that we have in a similar sort of space is, what are the gaps in employment support for refugees, for people who are refugees, and how can we work together to fill these gaps to improve employability? I don't know whether anyone wants to come in. Yeah, Gina?
I'd say one of them is a lack of ESOL, English as a second language, that's all year round, that's not just term time only, and that's movable so that if you do start work, you can continue with your English language classes as well, so that there is progression. So you're not, so if English is going to make a difference to you to get promotion, get into the career you want to do, then you're not stopped by taking a lower job whilst you go on that longer journey, so to speak, to get to where you want to be. So I think ESOL is a big thing. I know Cardinvale College do some vocational ESOL, which is really good. So if you're going into construction, the ESOL is based around that. So that's a really good way of learning as well.
Yeah.
But I think the flexibility within the courses and more of the courses, and perhaps even intense English classes, either as an asylum seeker while you're waiting for a decision, or when you're first given a decision, being able to access intense ESOL for a couple of weeks would really make a difference.
Great, thank you. Neela, did you want to come in?
Yeah, and we also say that it would be useful is we have more support with the interviews, because all of us, I would say, not all of us, but we come from different countries where looking for a job might be different, for example. And you know nothing about star and car models for interviews. So we fail in the interviews because we have never interviewed this way, So we need to provide more training for the interviews, how to write a resume, how you can be successful applying for a job, because we fail. And it's not fair. We know we understand the English, we comprehend everything, but this is very close-minded. And it should be a little bit more open-minded in relation to refugees, because if we don't know, we are going to learn, we are willing to learn, we want to become an asset in this community, whatever it takes.
Thank you. Larissa, do you want to come in?
Yeah. So I think there is a lack of understanding of people's experiences. We talk about support, we talk about job centers, we talk about career advice. I got advice from careers where I said, no, I attended one session in Newport and I said, I want to be this and that. And the lady was so brilliant. After listening to me, she said, no matter how it's going to be, continue with what you started. You already have a strong background, and I'm really grateful to her for saying that. Before I was ready to give up and just follow the easy way. And I think what we need to know, we need to hear from people, and we need to hear from people what they've been through. interview language is so important, yeah, but sometimes interviewing your own language in your own country is hard, and you need to understand that it's not because of you, but because they are looking for different persons, so it's fine. But I can say that when you come to this country as an asylum seeker and you become a refugee, you feel like those guys, 16-year-old, when you have to choose a job to do, and there is a whole world in front of you, and there is a range of jobs, but how to do, how to start, where to make that first step, where to find that person who will tell you about the transcript, changing, like, I was lucky, I was volunteering, and one lady said, you know what, start with that, and that was my first step in 2014. But if not for her, you kind of, a lot of things available, but they're everywhere, and we need to find them. Does that person have the strength and power to navigate that and find that? Or just give up and join people who use the easy way? So I think we need to talk to each, like to find that, to collaborate, to speak to people with lived experience, to co-produce that way forward, and to listen to what people need. And like I'm happy to speak to anyone who wants to about my experience, so people learn from that, because that power of lived experience can't be compared with anything else.
Absolutely. Thank you, Larissa. Tony, do you want to go?
Yeah, I think we've heard about some incredible journeys today, and I think the journey into employment, like you talked about, there is another journey, and there are people who can guide you, you know, there's people like ourselves, Chris, you know, Gaynor and our teams. There are people there to help, so anybody who is looking at employability, please, you know, reach out and do get some help. Think about CAR and STAR techniques, and get some coaching, you know, get some coaching on that way into the labour market. But you know, find out what is out there. That's all I would say to people, is find out what's out there to find out about that support. Just make that first step on that new journey.
Yeah, but there should be like a mutual relationship between Universal Credit and, I would say, the Welsh Government, because in my case, Universal Credit says the work program is paying you, so we are going to freeze your payment because these charitable organizations are paying you. No, they're not paying me. They're just teaching me, giving me classes. So they don't believe that we are being educated and being, studying to pass these exams. So they just freeze our payments. You know, that's what they do. And this is unfair. So there should be like an understanding that we are under higher education. We want to become an asset in this community. So let us finish our, our studies. But they are pushing us, you know, and they freeze the payments. So I believe this is not fair. It's because there is not a mutual understanding. So
we're very lucky in Wales that when people move into work, there is still funding for people in work as well to develop their, you know, like the trade unions have some great programs. Welsh Government's got a program called the Personal Learning Account. People can, in work, can still develop themselves to move into the careers that, as Gaynor said, about to then think about that further career. So again, you know, find out about what's out there.
Find out.
Take that first leap. Yeah.
Chris, do you want to come in?
Yeah, thanks. So, as Tony and Gaynor have said, there's lots and lots of employability support available for everybody. But I lived in Chile for 10 years. I went there with very little Spanish. I know how difficult it is to get some orientation to find out how to get a job. And I don't think people understand how lucky everybody is in Wales with the support that's available. But as part of my role in the Welsh Refugee Council, I understand that despite all the employability support that is on offer, people also need to understand a little bit more about Welsh work culture and what they need to do to be able to find a job. I've helped people who have a professor in mathematics, but their CV needs a lot of work because they are not used to how we do things in this country. Again, how to answer certain types of interview questions, or even when they get into work, how to behave with their colleagues or manager. The different culture, people don't understand how different this can be.
Okay. Thank you to our panel. Okay, so that's the end of our session. Is it correct that I should be invited to Renette Roberts up? Yeah, Renette.
So thank you to Shavana, Herman and the panel for all they've shared. And now we're going to move swiftly on to integration with the Voices ambassadors. So first of all, I'd like to invite Annie Karumba to the stage, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. So, when we start to tell a story, we start by saying paukwa, and you're supposed to say pakawa. So I'll say paukwa. Excellent. A long time ago, before family planning was fashionable, and the TV was a box with a lock, my mother had 6 children. Yes, in my country they say childrens. That's when you have many. So my people say you have too many children. So in my house there was my big sister, I, my brother David, rest his soul in peace, my sister, and my sister. I think my mother was hoping for a boy, but he kept on getting girls. She kept on getting girls. That's her many childrens. In those days, girls were deemed as an expense. Then she stopped. So we were already 5 girls and 1 boy. The family dynamics were like any other big group. This introduced me to my first tribe. My tribe mates constituted of followers, leaders, schemers, sympathizers, agitators, beekeepers, depending on the stakes at hand, like any other society. If my mother was unable to get through to us, she used the serious voice and made the dreaded words, "I will have to see what your father has to say about this." This always got us, and she got the desired result. The plan was the government should never get involved, since it was the ultimate authority. This would always make us cooperate, where we normally would not agree. This was my introduction to government. When my mother needed a break for a while, she would have us go visit my grandmother's house. This was a treat. This was synonymous to going to finishing school. Here, every evening, all the kids gathered in the out kitchen and sat around the fire. This was for us to warm up before going to bed, since the corrugated roof got very cold at night and hot like a furnace during the day. My integration. When I was growing up, my favorite series was Star Trek. It was fascinating. I had so many why, who, what, and the mind of an 8-year-old, this was true. They went out there. It never occurred to me it was acting. The things that fascinated me was the Federation had integrated aliens in the team that was captained by Captain Picard. They valued and celebrated the strengths and skills that each of these aliens brought to the team dynamics. They gelled. I still marvel at this and still watch the spin-offs from the original Space 1999. They remind me of my childhood, among other things. So let me now tell you a story. My uncle was a storyteller. I enjoyed his stories. He would strive to scare us with stories. Sometimes it was about the greedy hyena or the slow tortoise and the clever hare. Sometimes it was about the big giant. Some days he would quiz us by telling us proverbs. All this was told in my native language, Gikuyu. And in his story, in Gikuyu, he would say, "Watadai," And we would say, then it would start. This opened my mind and made my imagination grow. This was my introduction to community and the wider family. In spending time at my grandmother's place, my life was enriched by the stories of my aunties and her friends, told when we went to the river to fetch water. This is where gossip on the happenings of the wider communities were dissected. Who was crushing who? Whose husband had a wandering eye? Who was going through the right passage? What it meant, the narrative always depended on who was telling the stories. When they laughed, it was so loud, it sounded like a pack of hyenas. The topics were always varied. Village drunk, the village idiot, which families had secrets, and one should not dare get married in that household. Who was next to get married, and the dreams and aspirations of going to far places and going to school. It was my highlight of staying at my grandmother's. It taught me some values. This was my introduction to community, social interaction. Note, these settings also spoke about families' histories, good and bad, caste, drunk, village thieves, separation, marriage abusers, work opportunities. I would sometimes be lucky to witness some of the rituals, values, and practices. This was also when one got to be schooled on the history of Bariamubi. We prayed facing the sacred Mount Kenya under a Mugumo tree, which was considered sacred. These days, I find myself wondering what integration is in my new environment, tribe, and country. This new community with many tribes, what makes a good integration or dynamic integration? I find myself wondering, how will I know that I have integrated? I think it's a personal journey and choice. After all, who is responsible to integrate you into a new tribe and society? You need to own your journey and find your tribe. In finding your tribe or your community, you will learn about the different cultures and cultural norms, values, and practices. Integration is a co-production between you and the immigrant and your receiving communities. I think this is the definition of a child brought up by the village. It is a give and take depending on everyone playing their role. The government and the wider society have their role to provide an environment conducive to easier integration by providing safe and secure streams that allow integration not at a basic level, but at the fundamental level, implementing them in practice and policy development. This is emotionally, socially, educational, leading to financial stability, where the people trying to integrate start to own the nation and communities as their own. When they start contributing to the wider communities like they would their original home countries, when they identify with the host community. Education has a far-reaching ripple effect in integration as a core level of a person, be it in learning the local language, English, going to university or vocational studies. It enables one to reinvent themselves and dream in color. School of Sanctuary is one of those streams that allow children to learn about migrants, refugees, asylum seekers. It allows them to come up with ingenious ideas on how to be a welcoming school for sanctuary-seeking children. It is a beautiful thing to see and hear. Ideas, one of the sanctuary schools had an idea about a sanctuary pagoda, where if a student was seated at the pagoda, the other children would go over and welcome them and make them feel safe and included. My mother always reminded me constantly, loosely translating, everyone wants to be loved. It's a beautiful thing to behold. That child will thrive in that community. The ripple effect is the parents and the wider tribe will settle better. I borrowed this quote from somebody. Many cultures, one nation. That to me is integration. Thank you.
So thank you, Annie. I'd like to invite Sana Afrin to the stage now, please.
million. I'm not going to take more than 5 minutes. Okay, let me start with good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sana Afreen, one of the asylum seekers and one of the Voices ambassador. I'm honored that I have got a chance to put my thoughts in front of you all today. So let me start with a glimpse of my story. So I'm a clinical psychologist and a counselor professionally. And in my country, I was doing my job, empathizing clients. But after fleeing from my country due to certain circumstances, I moved to UK and claimed asylum. After claiming asylum, I discovered about myself that in my country, I was doing my job. But claiming asylum and living this experience taught me how does it feel when you put yourself in someone else's shoes. As we all know, we are time restrained, so I'm going to quickly start what I'm going to do now. Firstly, I'm going to throw some light on the issues of integration faced by asylum seekers and refugees, starting with monitoring implementation of asylum accommodation contracts through regular engagement with providers to ensure asylum seekers can access good quality accommodation and services. Secondly, making sure to have regular meetings with accommodation providers and asylum seekers. Therefore, it is important in Welsh Government's interaction with accommodation providers that they highlight the importance of mental health and cultural awareness training for managers in asylum accommodation. Also, I would like to thank Welsh Government for the free Wi-Fi's because they are a blessing for asylum seekers and refugees. Because people who are not studying or volunteering, they are still able to learn or watch something and make their life easier for some time. For a shorter period of time, asylum seekers had free bus tickets, which acted like another blessing for us. Since we have been given such a great opportunity to come here and speak from our heart, so I would like to raise a question here. What if, like free Wi-Fi's, Welsh Government can continue making the bus tickets free for asylum seekers and make their life happier at the same time? As we are grateful to have some amount of money every week, but 40 pounds are not really sufficient when it comes to the bus ticket or even for the food. Now, coming to the last but certainly not the least point, which is mental health care, I would like to give you all a glimpse of my personal experience and draw your attention towards mental health of being an asylum seeker. My personal experience about mental health is I faced racial discrimination with the housemates. They used to provoke me and isolated me totally. They took over all the dining area and drawing room and had no verbal communication with me. Additionally, they used to create the mess around the bathroom whenever I had to use it. I never responded because I didn't want any chaos from my side. So I reached out to my house manager and she never responded to me back. Later, I decided to stay in my room all the time because it was messing with my temperament and my mental health. I used to think a lot about the discrimination, got sudden urge of screaming, had sleep disturbances, and all the past incidents and fears flashed in front of my eyes because of not being at peace. And I was not feeling good enough. I was not enjoying my working out, my everyday meals, or even revising my course books. I wanted to channelize my energy productively. Then after 2 months, I got to know about volunteering, and fortunately I applied for the volunteering in the Voices network. Since then, my life has changed, and I'm grateful to be the part of such a great team of Voices network. Can you all see that? I'm kind of blingy today. You know why? It was intentional because I wanted to show I wanted to show everyone that how does it feel to be a Voices ambassador. It's blingy, it's lively, it's joyful, full of optimism and hopes. I can brag about Voices ambassadors and Voices team all day, but since we have no time, so I would like to request you all to kindly do something about these crucial issues faced by asylum seekers and refugees. We will be grateful. I'm not finished yet. In the end, I would like to add few lines for enlightenment. We have different words, but we all need freedom. We have different words, but we all need peace. We have different words, but we all need humanity. We have different words, but we all need dignity. We have different words, but we all need home. We have different words, but we all need love. We have different words, but we share the same world. Thank you so much for allowing me to share some experiences and listening to me patiently. Thank you.
So thank you to Sana. I'd like to invite Hoyam Osman to the stage now.
Don't worry, I will not be long. Brain Hamda Egid. I'm so proud to be part of Cardiff. I'm so proud to be part of Ambassador, but I'm not thinking myself Ambassador just for the BRC. I'm very happy when I'm always happy when Rola at Oasis called me to teach ESOL classes. And as well, I'm now working as a trustee with the WRC as well. And as well, ambassador and life skills classes facilitator with the BRC. So I'm very happy to be part of this very active team, the Voices. Full appreciation and gratitude to all Welsh community for their generosity and support provided to all people who have fled their lands because of civil wars, persecution, and genocide. I want to draw your attention to the fact that most people do not appreciate that asylum seekers and refugees bring with them different skills which do have a positive impact to the economy and social life. We have to work hard through effective networking to draw the positive image of refugees. I would like to highlight the importance of the host community in supporting capacity building, thus paving the way for the inclusion of refugees and increasing their contribution in the country. Let us open our hearts and souls to refugees, offering them all the tools needed to become valuable assets in the community. With Cardiff leading the way for change in the whole planet. My recommendations for the Welsh government today is to put in consideration of their personal experiences and any challenges faced in their homeland. Role of the government is solving the challenges they face. Example, the implementing a communication plan to promote equality and diversity, supporting more activities, events that encourage host communities to get to know refugees and asylum seekers. Provide more training on cultural awareness and asylum experiences, more positive portrayals in the media. And thank you for BBC Today as well for interviewing. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us today. we are ever so grateful to have a government with supportive services and programs for our community in Wales. We appreciate that the Welsh government attend our events and listen to our concerns. For example, with regard to what is happening in our countries, being killed in the streets while protesting for civil rights. We invite you to reach out of us for further advice when you are making decisions about the refugee crisis. It is highly important to involve people who have lived through the refugee struggle and experienced significant challenges when deciding on your policies, services, and programs in Wales. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Hayam, and I'd like to invite Carlos Ibarra Rivadeneira to the stage, please.
Thank you all. TGP group is still here. Hey guys, I got a speechless. Thank you. I have to do a speech, but I got a speechless. I arrived about 4 years ago here, no English. So you are doing great, and you're gonna smash it. Don't be afraid. To be honest, I don't know what most I can add on top of all been said. I can't promise to stand up for the 5 minutes. Sorry, everyone coming is saying, no, it's not gonna speak much, but we need to be listened. We need to be understood with no cards. I respect that, but it's what I need. Thank you, Larissa. Thank you, Laura, very much. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Perthing Project. Thank you, Welsh Cop. Thank you, Gower College. Thank you, Senedd. Thank you, Jess, Voices Network, British Red Cross. If I could sum up, we should say gracias. It's the biggest word we can say. Thank you for everything. I don't really bore you going over all the troubles you have been here about. It's not an easy journey for anyone, not especially for the vulnerable people like asylum seekers or refugees. I don't want to bother you telling about how much we can struggle to rebuild our life. Instead, I would like to relate you from a really meaningful experience I had with a couple of friends. My background is about mental health support, so I used to do counseling and running a group for asylum seekers and with asylum seekers and refugees. I had the chance to meet many people. And all my problems seems to disappear when you are able to listen others' struggles. When you are able to give the people the chance to speak and to be listened and to pay attention when they are saying, you feel, wow, yes, I'm struggling, but I'm lucky. So when I was advised, a kin of mine attempted to take over his life. So I tried to run as quickly as I could to the house, because we were speaking many times, and we used to get out and to try to understand how the life is and is going to be here in UK. Being an asylum seeker, me and a refugee, so in some sort I can help them. What is about? What is happening to you? I mean, the world is being open, I know, traumatic experience. Tell me about that. So he is struggling with the sense of meaningless, losing everything. In his words, he told me, I was a giver, now I was a receiver. I was too used to support, now I need the support. I feel like nothing. Well, he seems to be the life really, really dark. Of course, with many reasons. I went through the same thing. Yes, we had to bury and to hide many emotions, many rememberings, many memories, many recallings, in order to go over, in order to thrive. Yes, we need to hide. We need sometimes to say yes, and we are not getting anything with the conversation. It's true. So in this battle to try to understand our common feelings, our experience, and going really to desperation, I don't know why, it just brought to my mind an analogy. Amen. You should stop this train. Wrecked train. Our life, your life, my life, used to have a destiny. We got on a train, and we, adults, as an adults, we plan our lives. We should have a destiny, and we usually have a destiny. So, but now, our train wrecked. They crashed, we need to get off and jump as quickly as we can, and we need to take another train. But you know what? This train is coming in a different direction. And sometimes you know where it's going to end. This is your mind. Your mind is going still in the same direction. But now we are going in a different direction, different culture, different language. That's the problem. Our mind is tricking us. And if the system is not friendly, it's even worse. So that is the reason many people want to go in over on their problems and want to be listened, because we need and we want to be understood once again. And we need to relate our experience to the locals so they can have a taste of what we're passing through. And we need to learn how is the life here. And we need to go to a pub. And we need to go experience how is the life here, to take a taste, to take a bit of how is the life, and to become citizens as well. So in this struggle, my friend told me, I cannot stop this train. So, well, it's not an easy task, but the only person who can do is yourself. Nobody's going to stop this train, just yours. So he seems to be struggling. So the only way I found to relate him to my own experience, being smuggled from Venezuela, my mother country, to Colombia, and then to make a trip to UK, was to show him something I'm going to show you today. Maybe I'm going to ask a friend of mine, Adele, are you still here? Adele, are you still here? No, she left. Okay, I'm going to choose a different one. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. What I did was to show my friend how your life could be reduced, and sometimes reduced to the minimal expression. When you need to escape your country, when you need to take your more precious belongings and run. So what I did was to show my friend one of the very few belongings I brought with me coming to UK. And it was this trouser. I'm wearing pants, don't be afraid. So yeah, no other way I found to tell him. Just one point. This was one of the few belongings I brought to me. For me, can you please? What made this trouser special to me is not just because it's a jean. It's a simple jean, it's nothing fancy. But can you tell us what you can see sewn in this jean?
What is sewn?
Yes. Please tell us what you can see there.
I can see different material from the jean.
Yes.
I can see some thread.
Yeah.
I can't see another thing.
Yes, something totally different. Do you know what is this? It's a hidden pocket. When we smuggled the only $3,000 we left after sold out our house and our belongings. It's the only thing we can brought out here, where our life was reduced to just a couple of cups. So finally, my friend understood the life is far beyond what we had. is more about what we can rebuild. And now living in Wales, nation of century, truly nation of century, we have many chances, many opportunities, and the lessons still remain. We can have all the chances, we can have all the golden doors, but we are the one we can go step in and enter. Nobody is gonna do for us. Thank you for being welcoming. Thank you for enduring this heat, and thank you for coming today.
So thank you, Carlos. And now I'd like to invite Dr. Niloha Rangel to the stage.
Oh, gosh. You know, we both are from Venezuela, and this is very typical of our culture. We improvise all the time. We are funny people. Well, I am proudly a Voices ambassador. I'm also a proud ambassador of City of Sanctuary and from Doctors of the World and other organizations, but I am very proud to belong to them. So today I'm just gonna tell you about 3 things that concern us the most. The first one would be we need to change stereotypes. The word refugee has been divisive, with negative connotations linked to the other, the alien, the queue jumper, the one without status, the one who is a cost to society. So we need to change the language surrounding migration. It's a benefit for you and for us. Because I've been taught that anyone can achieve anything, regardless of the color of our skin, our profession, our nationality, our status. We can achieve anything we want in life. So I decided to change what the system believed in me. And I decided to come about and be visible. And what it was revealed to me is that I was a person who can genuinely wants a change and wants to be seen differently. And I did, and I did. I became visible. So we have to overcome the labels that has been given to us and don't anyone to replace our identities. We can't accept this. And because this, I believe that in my case, my identity has been my superpower. So we have to empower ourselves and don't anyone to intimidate us because we don't want to live in the darkness. We deserve more than that. You know what? Because a refugee story is the exemplification of courage and grit of many people around the world who want to obtain even in these hard times we are facing. So we want people to know this. So in terms of dispelling myth, I am one of the producers of the podcast of Voices Network, where we did, and we have won 2 gold awards, by the way, at the Radio Academy. So why did we do this? Well, we wanted to dispel the myth and the negative narratives that are unjustly assigned to the asylum seekers. We wanted to humanize refugees. That's our purpose. Secondly, I believe in the other word that is called encouragement. So in this thing, I myself adopted a personal approach. So I've been producing videos and giving talks, how to heal your wounds through a healthy lifestyle, and because that will benefit your physical and mental health. So it will help you to, at the same time, you can promote resiliency and have a positive outlook of all this thing we are going through. So I joined a choir. The first day I came here, I started running. And then I stop a guy and I say, can I be your partner? I say, what? Are you dating me? I say, no, I just want to join your runners club. Okay, that's fine. No, I'm not dating you. I just want to run in a club. Okay, you can run with us, So I joined a runners club and I started running and I got some medals, by the way. And I started fundraising. I ran Miles for Refugees, I ran Race for Life, Children's Society, so I started fundraising. So this became part of my initial integration. So, and also, I also share my integration in an international conference in Brussels. That was called Dynamic Integration, because what is this? At the end of the day, it's a two-way process where the migrants and the receiving community get into a mutual accommodation and make it happen. It's a two-way process. That's all. It's very simple as that. So, being a volunteer of 8 prestigious charities encouraged me to what I am today. Through this volunteerism, because all this volunteering that we've been doing represent a common motivation. We feel a state of solidarity. We want to work for communities. We have a humanitarian purpose. So all this engagement with all these groups have helped me to socialize, to grow, to do some networking, and of course, heal my wounds. That's the way I healed my wounds. So in terms of advocacy, thank you to this course, I started speaking up for the ones who are voiceless. I've raised petitions, I campaign, I've done everything that is possible. So all this has been very rewarding because I find a purpose in this country and developing a humanitarian career. In parallel, I am taking my exams to become a doctor and start working at the NHS, but in the meantime, I am developing this humanitarian career thank you to these organizations that are helping me. So as a result of this, I got an award as one of the most influential women in Wales in the humanitarian fields. And also, I have been approved in the International Society of Female Professionals, women who have navigated a path of professionalism and excellence despite of gender. So what I'm telling you this is what we must encourage people to dream, to imagine. So as long as a woman or a man has a dream, he cannot lose the significance of living. He's showing me the red card, but I'm finishing. So and the third point, we want to become an asset because we want to work, we want to pay taxes, we want to integrate in this community. When you feel loneliness and you are desperate for a home, and if you find a home in Wales, because I found a home in Wales, Wales has embraced me, has given me opportunities, I'm safe, I'm happy here. So to finish off, I want to thank all of you, the ones with lived experience, the one in the Refugee Coalition, the members of Senedd, all the organizations involved that are working, helping us to integrate and become part of this society. We know that this will take action from a lot of organizations, but we are very happy that the Welsh government is supporting us and that it has done a wonderful job with School of Sanctuaries, universities, and all this. So we are really thank you for this. So my final message is, the more people tell you it's impossible, that it can be done, the more you should be absolutely determined to prove them wrong. Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation. Thank you.
So thank you, Nirloha. And I'd like to invite Salah Russell back to the stage to give some closing remarks. So thank you.
I promise I don't keep you any longer. So, spas bo Ahmad Butan. A big diolch yn fawr iawn for all the participants, and a big thank you to you all coming and staying. Plenty for us to think about and action. The speeches has been so inspiring. Keep engaging, keep collaborating, and most importantly, keep up the dream. Diolch yn fawr. I am going to invite Godwin now, and hopefully then we can have some lunch. Godwin?
Thank you, everyone. It's always very nice to be here. It's my third time coming for this program, 2018, 2019, and this is the third time. And I'm always very happy to be here because you meet like-minded people here. So I do really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I just want to quickly present to you a poem which is titled, Beautiful Colors of our Colorless Wales. You would be surprised, how can the way which is colorless, how does it end up having beautiful colors? Well, I'll quickly ask a question. Do you agree with me that Wales is beautiful and is colorful? Do you agree with me? Yes. And I will ask again, do you believe that Wales is colorless? Nobody wants to believe that. Okay, after my introduction to this poem, I will ask that second question, and we will see if Wales is colorless. Wales is truly a colorful and beautiful nation. Colorful not only because of the greens that we see all around us. When you look at the mountains, those wonderful land features, when you see the mountains, you see the valleys, you see the plains, you really see that Wales is a beautiful place. How therefore did I end up with this title, the oxymoronic title that we have a colorful, beautiful, and colorful, and yes, still colorless Wales? Despite that, we see people of different colors. In ways, the government of this nation has continued to make policies of inclusiveness, which defines what a true sanctuary is. This effectively breaks the borders among colors, among races. On this note, even though Wales is physically colorful and are moving towards an institutional colorless Wales, the point at which we will be an example of what a true nation of sanctuary is. This poem is not only descriptive of the present state of this nation, but it's not only descriptive of the state of this nation, but it is also prescriptive of that ideal nation where we want to be, where everyone will remain equal regardless where others may be standing, like somebody say all animals are equal. Regardless where others climb, we want to remain equal. This is not a wake-up call to the government alone. It is going to be a wake-up call to schools, to hospitals, to organizations, That is when we will actually become a formidable nation. And the poem is titled, again, The Beautiful Colors of Our Colorless Wales. How beautiful our colorful nation to behold. When we all come together like a rainbow, colors, though unique, they are not alone. In togetherness, they stay aglow, shining to heal the world of sorrows. And if I cherish the beauty of the rainbow, if I cherish the healing and peace as a whole, then the beauty of our diversity I know. The color of our nation is charming. Strength of our diversity is enchanting. When in a bound we sweep like brooms, forgetting the phrase, hate that brings segregation, to create a beautiful but colorless nation, where all we see in every person is human, where everyone's potential is harnessed, to create a formidable nation without colors, where humanity comes before nationality. There is no peace devoid of love. Tolerance and togetherness build the world, where everyone truly finds his worth, where our color is not our curse, but to a sick society a cure, where our differences are not our war, but a place where lost confidence is restored. Hate divides and builds nothing, but our crumbling world needs builders' minds. Hate in every form is a war. If expressed, yes, a war. If unexpressed, it is worse. Light your candle, your light. Sheath the sword of hate and pride. As nothing thrives where there is prejudice. Regardless who I am, let me live. Let's banish the darkness where hates hide. Let's communicate life. Then we have hate's exiled. Hands together to abhor dislike in our war against prejudice. Thank you.
So that's it for now, and lunch is up there. So please go and chat to someone. Talk to someone you've never talked to before.